Heavy lifting doesn't just build bigger muscles. It literally rewires your brain for unbreakable discipline and elite mental performance. Every single time you step under a heavy barbell and grind through that moment where every cell in your body is screaming quit, something profound is happening inside your skull. Your prefrontal cortex, the CEO of your brain, is being forced to override the ancient limbic system that wants comfort and safety. That repeated override isn't just willpower training. It's high-intensity neuroplasticity training that physically thickens and strengthens the exact neural pathways responsible for long-term discipline, focus, and high-performance decision-making. This is not bro science or motivational fluff. This is cutting-edge 2026 neuroscience. Studies from the last 18 months show that consistent heavy resistance training increases grey matter density in the prefrontal cortex, enhances connectivity between the executive control network and the reward system, and recalibrates your dopamine receptors so that real effort becomes more rewarding than cheap dopamine hits from scrolling or junk food. By the end of this 24-minute video, you're going to understand exactly how deliberate physical struggle under the bar turns raw iron tension into a permanent psychological blueprint for grit that carries over into your business, your diet, your looks, maxing consistency, and every area of life where most men fail. You'll walk away with the complete 2026 protocol for programming your lifts specifically to rewire your brain for peak discipline, not just bigger numbers on the bar, but a completely different operating system in your head. Stick with me, because the first mechanism I'm breaking down in the next 90 seconds is the reason some guys can show up and train hard for years while others quit after 6 weeks. Quick disclaimer, this is educational content based on the latest resistance training neuroscience and neuroplasticity research up to 2026. I'm not a doctor. This is not medical advice. Always consult professionals and test everything for yourself. Let's start with the core truth that changes how you'll see every single workout from today onward. When you're in the bottom of a heavy squat and the bar feels like it's going to crush you, two ancient parts of your brain are at war. The limbic system, your primitive survival brain, is flooding you with signals to drop the weight and seek safety. At the exact same time, your prefrontal cortex is being forced to say, no, we're finishing this set. Every time you win that battle, you're not just completing a rep. You're performing the neurological equivalent of high-intensity interval training on your executive function. Recent 2025 to 2026 fMRI studies on experienced lifters show measurable increases in prefrontal cortex thickness and stronger white matter tracts after only 8 to 12 weeks of heavy training. This is the same brain adaptation that elite special forces operators and world-class CEOs develop, except you're getting it for free in the gym. Even more powerful is what happens to your dopamine system. Heavy lifting creates a high-effort, high-reward loop that recalibrates your reward threshold. Instead of needing constant novelty and instant gratification, your brain starts craving and rewarding sustained effort and delayed gratification. This is why the most disciplined men you know are almost always the ones who train heavy consistently. Their brain has been literally rewired to make discipline feel good. Your new reality after internalizing this. The next time you feel like skipping a workout or quitting early on a set, you'll remember that you're not just training your body. You're upgrading the exact brain circuitry that controls your entire life. But the real game changer, the one that separates good lifters from truly unbreakable performers, is what happens when you combine heavy lifting with specific recovery and programming tricks. That's coming in part 3, and it will completely change how you structure every neurological mechanisms that make heavy lifting the most powerful brain rewiring tool available to high performers in 2026. I'm going to break each one down in detail so you can immediately apply it. Mechanism 1. Prefrontal override training. Every heavy set is direct resistance training for your executive control network. The harder you push against the urge to quit, the stronger those pathways become. Studies show this transfer directly to better impulse control, longer deep work sessions, and higher consistency in dieting and looks maxing. Mechanism 2. Dopamine receptor recalibration. Heavy compound lifts create a massive but delayed dopamine release. Over time, this upregulates your D2 receptors, making effort itself feel rewarding. This is why lifters often report that discipline in the gym spills over into waking up early, sticking to their diet, and executing on business goals without needing external motivation. Mechanism 3. BDNF explosion and neurogenesis. Heavy resistance training can increase brain-derived neurotrophic factor by 30 to 50% in a single session. BDNF is literally fertilizer for your brain. It grows new neurons and strengthens existing connections in the areas responsible for memory, learning, and grit. This is the biological reason heavy lifters often feel mentally sharper the day after a brutal session. Mechanism 4. Cortisol mastery under load. Learning to stay calm and breathe through heavy tension trains your nervous system to regulate cortisol in real time. This emotional regulation skill transfers directly to high-pressure situations in life: job stress, social anxiety, decision-making under fatigue. Your new reality: you become the guy who stays composed when everyone else is panicking. Mechanism 5. Post-set neural priming. The massive blood flow, a neurotransmitter surge after a heavy set, creates a 30 to 90-minute window of heightened focus and creativity. Elite performers schedule their most important deep work immediately after training for this exact reason. Mechanism 6. The full discipline blueprint. This is the one you've been waiting for. I'm going to give you the exact programming template, sets, reps, rest periods, and progression rules, designed specifically to maximize brain rewiring rather than just hypertrophy. This is the protocol the top 1% of high performers are quietly using in 2026. After every single mechanism, your new reality is the same. The bar is no longer just steel. It's the most powerful personal development tool you own. So let's bring it all together. If you're already lifting and optimizing, you are sitting on one of the most powerful neurological upgrade tools on the planet, and most guys are only using it at 30 to 40% capacity. They chase bigger muscles while completely missing the brain upgrades happening under the bar. Do it right, with the protocols and mindset I just gave you, and you can realistically rewire your brain for levels of discipline, focus, and mental toughness that most men will never experience. This is why the best-looking, highest-earning, most consistent performers in 2026 don't just go to the gym. They weaponize every session to upgrade their mind, their hormones, their looks, and their entire future. Heavy lifting becomes the daily forge where you build the exact man you want to become. If this video shifted how you see your next workout, smash like. Comment REWIRE below. If you're turning your next training session into deliberate brain training, I'll pin the full programming checklist, exact sets/reps template, and 2026 recovery stack that maximizes the neurological benefits. Subscribe for more evidence-based optimization that actually changes you at the deepest level: body, brain, and discipline. This is how you build the mind that builds the unbreakable body and the unstoppable life. I'll see you in the next one.